fell in love with Savannah, Georgia for many reasons. I adore architecture. And I really like when I'm in a place, particularly a small city or a town, where I can go on walking tours with great storytellers. This is how I came upon the Sorrel-Weed house of Savannah, Georgia. This is notoriously the second most haunted house in Savannah. There were times where I would be on historic walking tours and we would be talking about the architecture, or we would be on a ghost walk and I would hear spooky stories. Often when I found myself at this particular house, I would see this creature darting in the corner of my vision. I didn't know if it was a person, a ghost, or simply a sensation. This house is known for having spirits reach out and pull earrings off of women, so I knew never to wear hoop earrings when I was near this house. One night, I was standing in a walking tour, staring at the front of the house, looking at the beautiful porch, which is about half a story above the street. This is the way they were built. And then they had sub-basements underneath. I was listening to the storyteller, and I noticed this creature darting right across the front porch of the house. It looked just like a goblin from the bank in the Harry Potter movies. I tried to get my phone out, I tried to get the camera on, and I was unable to get it on digital film. Frustrated, I moved on, but then about a year later, I was invited to go to the Sorrel-Weed house on an overnight with ghost hunters. We had all sorts of infrared equipment and these contraptions that picked up radio wave, and we could even converse with the spirits. I showed up early on the night of my overnight trip in the house. And a friend of mine who was tour guiding that night said, "Hey, you don't have to sit out in the garden. Why don't you come on in the house and just go through the tour with us? It'll give you a good feel for the house. And then later, you can decide where you want to spend more time with your team." So of course, I took him up on it. On the first floor of the house, there are two parlors, the ladies' parlor and the men's parlor. In the men's parlor, there's a huge painting facing a gilded mirror. These two objects are very famous in this house. It is said that the spirit of the man who is in the painting follows you with his eyes, just like you've seen in creepy movies. And the mirror is known as an in-between place, kind of like Alice through the Looking Glass, where the spirits actually appear in photographs. So we were encouraged time and time again, as we were listening to stories in the men's parlor, to take pictures of the mirror and then look at them later to see if we picked up on any spirits. My friend, the tour guide, was standing in front of the mirror pointing and discussing an object in the room. And he encouraged us to take our cameras and, in a crowd all facing the mirror with the painting behind us, to take a photograph to see if we pick up anything in the painting. I could feel the hairs on my neck begin to stand up a little, and I knew something was up, but I wasn't sure what. There we were, standing, and I'm only 5 feet tall, so I was pretty short, and reaching up as high as I could, holding my camera, to take the picture. Later, when I was going through all my photographs, I noticed that there was something a little off about the reflection of my friend in the mirror. It wasn't his hand. It was as if it was covered in reddish-brown hair. And the face had a hooked nose, and as I zoomed in on the image, it was the goblin. I had caught him on picture, on film, right there. Everybody in the light in the room. And he was in the mirror mocking my friend. His hand looked like he had 6 fingers. And his nose hooked, just like the goblins in Harry Potter, and just like the images and the things I had caught flashing out of the corners of my eyes on my different visits to the house. I, of course, submitted this photograph to ghost hunters and to the Sorrel-Weed people who take care of the house and conduct the tours. I'm sure they're using it because they always fan through different people's pictures as they're telling their stories. If you ever get the chance to visit the Sorrel-Weed house in Savannah, Georgia, beware. And ladies, don't wear any long earrings, and especially not hoop earrings.